Okay, boys and girls, we're going to pick up today with adding and subtracting fractions. We've done a little bit of this. We've done some practice with reducing fractions, and by now that should be old hat stuff we know how to do with just a little bit of review and refreshing our memory. But we're going to work with a couple of basic fractions, then we're going to move very quickly into adding and subtracting with unlike denominators. Now again, these will be split up into 2 or 3 different segments. I will put some problems up here and work through those, a couple of examples. At that point I will put some up on the screen and ask you to pause your video, work them out yourself, then come back and check your answers after you've finished. If I add the fractions together, 3/8 plus 3/8, one thing we want to be sure of, this is not the answer that you want. If you're still adding these denominators like this, please do not. That is a major mistake. Your denominators will remain the same. So if I've got 3 plus 3, I'm only adding my numerators. So 3 plus 3 will give me 6/8. 6/8, of course, we should recognize is not in simplest form. We can reduce that by 2/2. And that will take me down to the fraction, or their simplest form answer of 3/4. If I've got 5/9 plus 1/9, again I have like denominators, so that's not a problem to add. 5 plus 1 will give me 6/9, but hopefully by now I'll recognize that 6/9 is reducible by a 3/3. And if I do that, I will get an answer of 2/3. 2/3. That's a couple of examples. I want you to write this next one down and work it out for yourself. Alright, write that down, pause your video, and work that one out, and then come back and check your answer in just a minute. Once again, I have the same denominator for both, so all I need to do is add my 2 numerators. If I do that, I will get an answer of 10/12. Again, I've got 2 even numbers. That's always able to be reduced by 2/2. And if I do that, I'll get a simplest form answer of 5/6. If that's what you had on your paper, then you're in good shape. Let's look at some more. Five 5/15 plus 9/15. Write that down, pause your video, work it out, and come back and see what you've got. In this case, again, I've got the same denominator. It does not change. 5 plus 9 is 14. So in this case, 14/15, it is in its simplest form. There's nothing more that you can do with this particular fraction. Now let's pick up the pace a little bit. I want to know what happens if I've got 5/6 plus 5/6. Okay? I've got the same denominator, so that does not change. 5 plus 5, however, will give me 10/6. We recognize at this point, should, I hope, recognize that this is an improper fraction. It has to be put back in simplest form. I have to do 2 things. I need to reduce it. I can do that by taking out 2/2. And that will give me the fraction 5/3. But notice that 5/3 still is improper. That means it cannot be left in that form. In this case, I must now go back and divide 3 into 5, which of course goes 1 time. I have a remainder of 2. My remainder of 2 must go on top my divisor. Remember this word right here, divisor. That's your number on the outside. That becomes your denominator. So my final answer is 1 2/3. 1 2/3. Alright, let's look at another one of those. We'll do the same thing. Denominator remains the same. 7 plus 7 will give me 14/8. Again, that's divisible by 2/2. If I reduce that down, I will have 7 over 4. Okay? 7 over 4 is an improper fraction. Cannot leave it that way. I must do this. Remember, my remainder of 3 goes on top. My divisor of 4 becomes my denominator. So my answer is 1 3/4. 1 3/4. That's what we're looking at for a correct answer. Now, I want you to do this one. Eight tenths plus 7 tenths. Write that down, pause your video, work that one out, and come back and check your answer in just a minute. Again, my denominator will remain the same. It does not change, so I've got 10 on the bottom. 8 plus 7 is 15 over 10. All right, again, 2 things I hope we recognize. 15 over 10 is an improper fraction, but it's also divisible by, if we know our divisibility rules, numbers ending in 0 and 5 will always be divisible by 5. So if I do that, 5 will go into 15 3 times, 5 goes into 10 2 times. So now I'm at this answer right here, 3 over 2. Again, that's improper. Cannot leave it that way. So I'm going to slip right over here. By 2 and a 3. 1 is left over. My remainder goes on top. My divisor goes underneath. 1 1/2 is my simplest form answer that I should have right here. All right, one more of those before we quit with this particular set. All right, write this one down and work that one out for me. 9/16 plus 9/16. Pause your video, work it out, and come back in just a moment. Again, denominator stays the same. It does not change. 9 plus 9 gives me 18 over 16. Once again, I hope you recognize you've got 2 problems. An improper fraction plus 2 even numbers, which are both divisible by 2 over 2. And that will give me an answer of 9 over 8. Again, still an improper fraction, so I must change it back to look like this. So my final answer, or your final answer, should have been 1 1/8. Okay? 1 1/8. I want us to look at maybe just one with mixed numbers. If I've got 2 mixed numbers like this that I'm adding together, and this is kind of an introduction that we'll do for the next set that'll follow behind this one. I first need to add, I'm going to rewrite it vertically like this and cross this out. If I've got 2 halves right here, obviously that will give us 2 over 2. 1 plus 1 gives us 2 whole numbers. And I should recognize at this point 2 over 2, any number over itself, we should remember always will equal 1. So 2 over 2 equals 1. I've got 2 over here to add back to that. So 1 plus 2 will give me an answer of 3. Alright, that's just a brief introduction to one on mixed numbers. We'll stop on this one, let you do some practice, and we'll pick back up with more mixed numbers a little bit later.